let's go into this. A day in the life of an insurance adjuster after the LA fires. It's going to be very interesting to see how much of an insurance crisis we see after these LA wildfires, because again, every single day we're seeing the costs go from 50, 100, 150 billion. Now some people are estimating it's going to cost $250 billion to rebuild. Now again, that's in today's numbers. I'm sure building costs are going to skyrocket over the next 3 to 5 years, because everyone's going to be going there to build these homes. There's not going to be enough workers, there's not going to be enough materials, and people are going to start price gouging. Now, of course, they'll try to regulate as much as they could, but if they can't make a profit, the workers aren't going to come, they're not going to buy the materials, so there's going to be big price increases. So let's go ahead and look at this next story here, everyone.
The Los Angeles fires are still burning, but homeowners are already rushing to file insurance claims.
Standing on a wreckage like this, I'm just sort of...
Absolutely insane. And they really need to build homes that are more fire resilient in California and Los Angeles, like what they do in Victoria, because a lot of these homes just went up in flames so quick.
Like piecing together room by room, how much is each room gonna be? I see here is a master bathroom. That's gonna be probably 25, 30,000.
Yep, 25, 30,000 at least.
Anssi Viljanen is a public insurance adjuster. He negotiates claims with private insurance companies on behalf of the policyholder. Today, he's starting to calculate the scale of the loss, line item by line item.
This would be a living room. This wall right here, did we have drywall or did we have plaster? So if it's plaster throughout the whole house, again, it's a lot easier to rack up the estimate. We have a kitchen here.
So what do we see there? Plaster, $10 per square foot, drywall, $3 per square foot.
Plaster throughout the whole house, again, it's a lot easier to rack up the estimate. We have a kitchen here. It's almost like a treasure hunt of trying to find the most expensive bits and pieces.
Public adjusters try to get their clients more money from insurance companies, and they take a percentage of the payout.
A lot of people think that it's burnt down.
Well, it's going to be booming business for him.
It says $1 million on my policy. You know, now we're going to get $1 million. Unfortunately, not how it's going to work. We had one where a house was burned down to the slab. It's insured for $1.9 million. And then the carrier comes in and says, well, here's $600,000. That's really where the public adjuster then comes in and points out those bits and pieces that are missing. What we're seeing right now is as bad as it gets. It's probably gonna be 2 years before we can even break ground.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally went forward there. So yeah, 2 years before they can even break ground. So, Gavin Newsom's, he's dancing on his little interviews talking about how much money he's going to make with the rebuilding process. They're saying it's going to be 2 years before they can even break ground. And many people are saying it's going to take decades for them to get back to where they were before.
Baby box over there, that's a family heirloom. We didn't know where we might go, so we got a tent over there.
Access to the affected areas is still heavily restricted, but some residents are trickling back into the neighborhoods to see if their homes are still standing. Viljanen went with one of his clients to inspect
These absolutely apocalyptic scenes. Looks like, doomsday here, what's happened, ground zero. This is absolutely catastrophic what's happened here in Los Angeles.
Damage.
I can't believe it's here. It's here, man.
Well, okay, looks like this guy's house is in a lot better condition than everyone else's.
So amazing that he's still here.
He's very lucky.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us here. And this is the only house that survived.
Wow.
Talk about a close call.
Embers.
What is this?
Embers.
Stain marks?
I wonder what material his house was built out of, or if he had some kind of sprinkler system to prevent his house from burning down.
While finding your home still standing is a huge relief, these claims, where the damage is primarily from smoke, pose a particular challenge.
This is going to be one of the more technical insurance fights. If it was up to us, yeah, I could hash this out in an afternoon. The insurance world, that's not how long it takes. The last dollar will not be paid for at least another year and a half, especially on these partially damaged houses. For Jorge's family, obviously, the most important thing is to now just be in housing. The reality of it is, you're homeless, but you're still paying mortgage. And you're hoping that your additional living expenses coverage from your insurance policy still has enough money. And it's going to be really, really hard for people to have staying power to come to the point where you're able to reconstruct.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. A lot of these people, you know, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything, but they still got to repay the mortgage. Now, hopefully the banks will be able to put on a mortgage moratorium, or they'll be able to delay their mortgage payments, but a lot of these people are not going to be able to afford to pay their mortgage and then have to go rent somewhere else. We're seeing, like I showed you with my other stories, where rents are going up 100%. Landlords are doubling their rents because they know these people are desperate. The government, the councils are trying to get in to prevent that. But a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to pay for two residents at once.
The cost of insured benefits could reach $30 billion, according to one estimate from Morningstar DBRS. It's putting pressure on an already strained system. Before the fires, some private insurers cut coverage for thousands of people in wildfire-prone areas. New regulations will prevent insurers from abandoning these neighborhoods completely, but they will also allow companies to raise rates.
Well, it's going to be very, very expensive in these areas. And like they said, a lot of the insurers pulled out. 7 out of the 12 biggest insurers pulled out of these areas that are such fire prone. And if they force them to stay, well, the costs are going to be catastrophic, because these insurance companies aren't charities. They got to make a profit. And a lot of people are going to have higher insurance costs than maybe their mortgage.
The president of the Personal Insurance Federation of California, an industry trade group, told the Journal that rates will probably go up, but the new regulations should stabilize premiums.
Like 10 years from now, is this whole valley going to be built? Who knows? So there's a real possibility where maybe this guy builds, this one doesn't, that one doesn't. We, as public adjusters, we're wanting to have the conversation. How are we going to exit out of this situation? Are we going to sit tight? Are we going to move out of state? Do we need to sell perhaps to a developer? Do we try to weather the storm, keep paying mortgage, hold on to the construction money for 2 or 3 years, and then rebuild after we've gone through the whole hassle of getting that money in the first place?
That's right, everyone. Look, that's crazy. The entire neighborhoods are burnt down. Many people simply aren't going to be able to afford to pay their mortgage, pay their rent. We're already seeing developers come in and lowballing these people. And unlike, like I said, that Gavin Newsom is saying he's going to rebuild hype warp speed, this is going to take 5 to 10 years to get back to what it was before. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. So what do you guys think about the situation that's happening in California? Drop it in the chat below.